Yeah, I think it's really tough to sell people who actually know that Penn State program, like the ball knowers in the program, that we fired a top 10 college football coach in the world for his like
Harry Smith. Yeah.
for his like right-hand man who is like his helper, who does not coach any position or call plays, and you lost James Franklin's like recruiting edge. That was like one of the things that made him so elite. And
Also, the
now
other thing is like,
they're ranked 129th. They're right in front of Harvard in their recruiting class right now.
yeah, that's the other thing. Like the recruiting class is falling apart. So, and that's I'm, I mean, those are James Franklin commits that decommitted, but if Terry Smith
He's
is going
still
to be
on,
your head coach,
but he's
yeah,
still on the phone with you. Like, dude, it's
yeah,
not like Terry Smith is like still calling these guys like, hey, like, just because James left, like this is my vision for the program, and they're like,
yeah,
yeah, we're all good, Terry, thanks.
yeah.
They have 5 recruits in the for signing day tomorrow.
Yeah, them and Harvard are right neck and neck.
How about how about Lane and LSU? Just Lane just inherits the number one recruit in the country.
Who?
The whatever the defensive tackle's name is,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he was committed to LSU already, and then just
He stayed.
yeah, right away.
I mean, dude, that's what we talk about with LSU. Like, you just have a chance to recruit higher level defensive players
Yeah,
that makes your life easier. And it just sucks that he's not gonna be able to coach the rest of the year with Ole Miss. Like, that's such a shame. But I'm sure he had something to do with like getting Charlie Weiss back in there to call plays.
I agree.
Like, dude,
yeah.
he tried. I think like Lane, for as messy as this was, what else it's gonna be messy when you leave a program in the middle, a playoff team in the middle of a year. I don't know what more he could have done. Like, this was pretty Lane Kiffin-esque. I mean, I
It
think
also,
you got it.
I was gonna say, it also makes sense that if you're gonna hire Pete Golding, then you can't have Lane there, but you can definitely have Charlie Weiss there
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I mean, they were equivalent, and then Golding got elevated, and Weiss is going to LSU, but you can get away with him being in the building more than you can with Lane being there.
Yeah, you can't get away with Lane in the
Also,
building.
imagine just the dynamics in the building if Lane and Pete Golding were there. They knew Pete Golding was going to become the head coach, and they're just fighting over players on the team and who's going to LSU, who's staying.
Yeah, dude, you can't.
That's an insane scenario to think about.
Like, are you just gonna let Lane Kiffin like secretly just
Yeah,
interview each one of your players? Like, hey, Trinidad, like, obviously we're trying to win this game this week, but what do you think about joining
coming to
me in
Rouge.
Baton Rouge? You like crawfish?
Yeah, no, I thought Trinidad was done.
He's trying to
He
apply. He's applying
during
for a
the Egg
waiver,
Bowl, they were saying he's applying for another year.
which
You
means
think
like,
he'll go to LSU?
No, I think they'll get a better quarterback.
yeah, pretty much.
Like
Probably
love it.
like you know who.
No.
He liked the Instagram post.
Yeah.
Lenoris.
The insane
Lenoris.
press conference too, where the guy was like, "Are you staying in South Carolina?" And he's like, "I'm gonna make that decision when I have to."
No, I
That's an
don't think that
honest
was.
answer. Honest answer.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like, he also has agents being like, dude, at least try to make yourself seem available.
yeah, 100%.
Because he's just gonna he's gonna take LSU's offer and stick it on Beamer's desk and be like, here's what they're offering me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or at least his agent will.
Yeah.
Also, why would you not go there if you're sellers? To be honest, why would you not go play with Lane
Yeah.
Kiffin and
That
then go
is
to the draft?
Is that? I don't know if he's the style of quarterback that would.
really.
I think Lane can adjust his scheme to
Yeah.
fit
Yeah.
the traits of his QB, no matter what.
Then we could get. Hey, what about Sam? I think he would go for Sam Levitt too.
Levitt,
Levitt seems like the
yeah,
prototypical Kiffin, like best version of Trinidad
Like
Chambliss.
Dart.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, that's a good point, Sam. Very good point.
Would you make him a tier dart comp or no?
No.
I think Dart's better.
Well, I don't think we got to
Well, I
see
think
the
dart's
best.
better too, but Do you
I
think
don't
they
think we
have
got to see
similar?
the best of Mateer as a thrower with his
Dude,
hand.
I think Mateer the best. I think Mateer. No, that's a fair. It's fair. It's fair. But Mateer is like Texas Tech Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Okay, that's not a bad comp. There's
He
also
pl-
you can just see when a QB goes to a school with a QB whisperer, you can also just see like there's always just noticeable improvement
Yep.
and
Do you think he
that's just
could
that's the
leave?
best way to get right. Like Baker going to Oklahoma, he just got right.
Yep.
So if a guy like Levitt goes to LSU and he's with Lane Kiffin for a year, or someone
Yeah.
goes to Kentucky to play with Will Stein, you just know you're going to get right there,
Yeah.
and you'll probably be a first round pick because you already
You know who
have.
I actually think might go to Kentucky, Charlie?
Who?
Mason.
Oh,
Heinschel.
that'd be brutal.
Dude, that would
I
suck.
was thinking about that today because what if they hire Cade Bell? That would actually be a pretty good hire for Will Stein.
K Bell's ROC though.
That's what I'm saying. What if Kentucky hired Cade Bell?
Ah. Yeah, I mean, Kentucky can pay him more money probably. They already took Jalen Lowe from me, so
Dude,
If if you,
I was really thinking about, I think Mason Heisel would be like a really good fit for Kentucky because he's young and like, I think that would be
yeah,
a good like
he's also
small up for him.
he's also got like just playmaking ability that Kentucky would have to just rely on so much to win games. So that seems like a guy Will Stein might try to hunt down, definitely. But that just sucks because you land a guy, dude. Pitt was his only Power Four offer, and then all of a sudden he hits and like you developed him,
Th
and then like you just lose him in like whole season.
that's why I actually think he could stay, is because of that.
I also don't think he's played like that well to where it's
Dude,
warrants.
Pitt also has the money. They paid Eli $2 million.
damn,
Yeah, like dude, why don't we just take Eli's money and give that to Mason? I mean, I'm sure that's what they're gonna do, but no, I mean Kentucky's definitely a better pro like a better place for a quarterback to be, especially with Will Stein. But I think Cade Bell does a good job with quarterback play as well. So,
it's pretty cool that Kentucky went out and got a Stein type guy.
dude,
Dude,
really cool.
that's an awesome, that like
Yeah.
pissed me off.
Especially because remember how earlier in the season Pate was talking about how like the best job in college football is Kentucky because if you go 7-5, like they'll keep you forever because that's what's expected of you. So this kind of changes the narrative on Kentucky a little bit. Like they're a little bit more serious about football with this hire. And like dude, Will Stein was a big fish that I thought like we've been mentioning him for a lot of the jobs. We're like, why not go get the guy that has had really successful offenses out in Oregon?
Also, landing. I mean, Dillingham is great. That's just great track record and credit for landing
Yep,
assistants.
yep, yep, yep.
That's definitely got to be one of the places where you're looking first. Now, it's like going to Saban's staff or Kirby's staff. That's like that whole just that's
Tree.
always got to be the pipeline
Yep.
you're fishing around in
And that is
because
so
there's
funny. It's so funny when you really zoom the tree out and it's literally just Nick Saban.
Mhm.
Like if you just zoom out the college football tree, like so many of them are just like Dabo Sweeney, Nick Saban, Urban Meyer
Saban's like
even.
their grandpa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's like Kirby came from Saban, Lane came from Saban. I do. I feel like Lane, the 2 years he was, and you know the job he wants before he dies.
yeah.
I don't know
He
if he'll ever.
can't he
I don't know
can't
if
do that. He can't do that though.
what
Dude, what are we doing?
in like
FanDuel put out
five
a
years.
line for LSU Ole Miss next year.
I
I
mean,
might hammer LSU.
they know what they're doing. They're just getting dumbasses to bet the
What's the
game.
spread?
1.5.
Oh, I might tap in
Dude,
LSU.
I think what I think
If
is
Lenore Sellers is the QB,
they're gonna make that game like week 3, just to make sure that there's still like if Ole Miss like sucks next year, that game will be week 3,
oh, make
my
sure they're
prediction.
3-0 or four
Or
or 2-0.
Ole Miss will be 2-0 and LSU will either be 1-0 or 1-1 or 2-0 or
Yeah,
1-1 after Clemson.
That'd be a big win for Clemson if they got that.
I wonder. I don't know if I paid attention enough to coaching hires in the past. The best precedent I can think of is DeBoer and how the team was kind of gutted when he got hired. But I wonder if it's going to be a similar situation or if they're just going
Well,
to
dude, think about the difference between the two hires. DeBoer got hired after not only,
after the Natty
but
facts.
no, but he got hired. So, but that's big because you didn't get National Signing Day and the portal window closed, so you could only lose guys you couldn't
But it was
get guys.
open for Bama players, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, dude, Kiffin gets the recruiting class, the portal, and
So,
like,
yeah.
dude, he's gonna. I mean, there's gonna be
He's
some.
gonna gut that team.
Yeah, but he's gonna get his
But
players.
there's still some pieces there that I mean,
Yes.
LSU definitely has great talent there that we
Yes.
just don't even know about yet.
Wait,
Like
isn't
his
that
like Whit
they have that
Weeks,
one
like Whit
freshman
Weeks is
receiver? What's that? Is Nick, not Nick Anderson's not a freshman, but they have
number 6.
one of the There's two
It's
Andersons.
Aaron Anderson. Aaron Anderson is
Yeah,
gross. Number 1.
I believe he's a freshman.
He is. He's gross. I mean,
Yeah,
dude, nobody's more excited than any offensive starter at LSU that like has NFL aspirations.
I always immediately think of O-line. They were, they were pretty mid to bad this
Yeah.
year, but they also had a lot of young guys that now have a lot of starting experience in the
Yeah.
SEC. I'm sure they'll bring in some ringers
Yep.
from wherever.
Ole Miss.
Yeah, Diego Pounds. I think he's in the draft though. That guy's
Uh,
so good.
is that number 61?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Guy's
love
good.
watching him. Yeah,
Um,
but the Ole Miss O line. That's a great place. Their O line's good. That's a good spot to poach from.
uh, so Archie's gonna join whenever he can, but
Oh, okay.
we're gonna get this thing going
We've been going for like 15 minutes already.
already. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 19th edition of the Forward Pass Podcast. We got me, Charlie Mill, we got Sam Perry, we got Luke Duskay, and Caleb Archer will be joining us later. Fellas, we had a jam-packed weekend of rivalry weekend, and we also had a carousel in the coaching world, and that's where we're gonna decide to start things off. So, I'm gonna kind of go through the list, and then I want you guys to give me who your favorite hire was of this cycle. So, out of the SEC, a lot of movement in the SEC with John Sumrall, the Tulane coach, head to Florida. Alex Golesh, the USF coach, head to Auburn. Ryan Silverfield, the Memphis head coach, head to Arkansas. Lane Kiffin, the Ole Miss coach, head to LSU. We have Will Stein, the Oregon offensive coordinator, go to Kentucky. And then we had Bob Chesney, who I thought had a chance to get the Penn State job. He's the James Madison head coach. He just got hired at UCLA. Pat Fitzgerald, out of a 3-year hiatus, is now coaching at Michigan State, who fired Jonathan Smith. Pat Fitzgerald last coached at Northwestern 3 years ago. So,
We all know how that ended.
yeah, not good. Not good. And they're going to he's going to another school riddled with, uh, bad history. Dusko, your favorite hire or your least favorite hire?
My favorite hire, for me, I don't want to steal any from you guys, so I'll just go with my number one first. It's Alex Golesh to Auburn. And I've talked about it before. I'm just biased towards play calling head coaches, offensive play calling head coaches that can go anywhere, develop quarterbacks, and implement a system and bring a lot to teams that have struggling offenses. You've seen what he's been able to do at USF this year with Byron Brown, with all the talent they have, and they've been able to consistently score points all year. He did the same thing at Tennessee, and when he goes to Auburn, he's going to have all the resources that come along with being the coach at Auburn. He's a pretty, I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it, but he's kind of just a savage type coach too that's going to take no prisoners and knows how to build a culture of a team. You can see that in the USF team this year. They play with an edge, and it's noticeable. And I think that's perfect for Auburn. I think he's going to go in there. It's a place where defensive talent they're always filled to the brim with defensive talent. It's we've talked about the SEC schools that you go and you just have an inherent advantage of being able to bring in defensive talent because of the location. Auburn's one of those places. You can see that in their defense this year. And they've always just needed a coach that can get the offense humming. Hugh Freeze wasn't able to do that, but I think they've gone in a pretty good direction with Golesh. I think he's going to be able to get that offense humming, and with that inherent defensive advantage, I'm just excited to see what type of product they're able to put out on the field. I think it's certainly going to be better than the Auburn product we've seen the last few years. And then least favorite hire, I think this will be common among all of us. It's Ryan Silverfield to Arkansas. And it's not necessarily because Ryan Silverfield's a bad coach. I just think that with Arkansas and what they've projected to the world, what they want their football program to develop into, and we always talk about how much financial investment that school can have with the big corporations that are in its backyard and the backing that they get. And you can see that in their basketball program too. There's a lot of investment in that program. They hired Coach Cal, who's an all-timer, and the basketball program's come a long way. And they want to do the same thing in football, and Ryan Silverfield is kind of just uninspiring in that respect. He's not a super young gun coordinator like a Will Stein, who I'm sure we'll talk about, or a young head coach from a G5 conference that's had a lot of success so far. He's
Yeah, if you're the
Memphis has been.
Walmarts, I don't know, or the Tysons, I don't know if this is
Yeah,
moving the
how excited
needle.
are you about this?
Yeah, I
He
don't
he
know.
went 50 and 25 at Memphis, did a good job of building them back up after Norvell left. They won 4 bowl games. They were fine. Um, this season they had a really good roster and started to capitulate towards the end of the year. I wonder if that a part of that is because his foot was halfway out the door. But I mean, it's just not as exciting to me as some of the other hirings that the SEC schools that were open got. And I think a comparable team to them in the SEC is Kentucky. And if you're them, you have to be way more excited about bringing in Will Stein from a program like Oregon than taking Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. But I mean, this clip could be clipped in a few years, and Brian Silverfield leads Arkansas to a SEC championship, and I look like a complete fool. But I think it's hard to see that happening.
I think to piggyback on the Arkansas thing real quick before I get into mine, I think the main issue with Arkansas, and we talked about this earlier in the season when we kind of knew that Pittman was on his way out. Um, I just don't think that there's alignment there right now with the donors and the football program. It seems like the donors are willing to kind of go all in on other sports like football, or not football, basketball and baseball, but not necessarily put together that financial commitment towards football, just because of where they've been in the SEC in the past years, just being a middling program. And I know you guys kind of talked about this earlier, but like, where does Arkansas, like, what is their ceiling of a season? And I wonder if the donors might think the same way. And that might be why they weren't willing to make a big splash hire and like really go out and spend a lot of money and promise $25 million in a roster and $10 million to that coach, et cetera. So, yeah, pretty underwhelming hire for Arkansas when you see teams like even UCLA making a pretty popular hire. So I'll go to my favorite
Wait,
hire.
can I just add one more stat in to just
Yeah,
reinforce everything we just said? So in Pittman's tenure, the best recruiting class that they had at Arkansas was ranked 25th in 2023. Or yeah, 25th in 2023. I want you guys to guess where that ranked out of SEC teams in that year.
23 nationally,
Yeah, 25th
probably
nationally.
12th.
It's 13th. So, I mean, when you talk about that job as well, it's you kind of also have to understand it's if you're pumping out the 25th best recruiting class, you're kind of in trouble in the SEC, and I think it's a tough job to turn around. And
Which is insane because if you threw the 25th best recruiting class in the ACC, you'd be cooking with grease or the
well,
Big
we've talked
12.
about before how good Arkansas would be in the Big 12 or the
Yeah.
ACC. Yeah,
Gosh. Like did the 25th best recruiting class would get it done in some other conferences
yeah.
and you're just not. Yeah.
That's what I think is if you're a donor, why are you putting all this money on the line for what? Like to maybe go 8-4 and make the tax Slayer Gator Bowl?
Yeah, Pate said it nicely when he talked about how if you're what did he say about he said Arkansas like, oh, if you're spending money and you're spending more money, you're expecting more wins. But in today's college football, if you spend more money, all you're doing is trying to match up what other programs are spending. So even if Arkansas goes out, pays $25 million for a roster and $10 million for a coach, like that's just what the other programs in the SEC are doing. That might just get you to 6-6 because right now they're at 4-7. So, you know, it's they're gonna need a wizard. I mean, yeah, God needs to help Arkansas. Like when I listened to the podcast today and he was like,
God
yeah,
help
yeah,
Arkansas.
God help Arkansas. Cause like, well, how is this is an uninspiring hire and like what is the path forward? Like what is the path forward?
Path
So
is just fully embracing being a basketball school.
yeah, that is the tournament. The tournament is the not the playoff, the tournament.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Sam, your favorite hire?
I'm gonna go with John Sumrall to Florida.
Like that.
And here's why. I think that, so first off, I mean, this is pretty common in coaching, but I just think first off, like being a former player, especially a linebacker like Summerall was, and playing in the SEC at Kentucky, um, I think that that is just a really good way to establish a program and set a tone for what you want your program to be. And for the last few years, it's really seemed like even, I guess the last time I would say this was in the Kyle Trask and Pitts teams. They didn't really have, they still haven't really had an identity since then. And I think that's what Summerall is going to bring to the table here. He's obviously known for having top defenses at Tulane as well as Troy. So I think that is just going to turn into Florida's identity. And we saw this multiple times this year where they were able to hang in some of these big time games that they played with their defense. And he even went out and said, and I don't remember if this was an opening presser or just a statement that he made, that he is committed to hiring an elite, explosive offensive play caller. So I'm really excited to see what he does just because of how much of an impact he's going to have on that defense. And then hopefully, like everyone says, how important it is to hire a good staff. And he's had very good offenses at Tulane the last 2 years. So I just trust him to make a big move there. And if I'm a Florida fan, I think you got the second best coach in this hiring cycle, and I would be very excited. Then on to my least favorite hire, it's actually the hire that hasn't been made, and that is Penn State. Because we're going to beat the Arkansas drum all day, but to go a little bit more into Penn State, they were probably they I can't remember if Pittman or Franklin was fired first. Doesn't matter. They fired Franklin early in the season with the hope of getting an elite coach, whether that was Signetti, which they whiffed on, or Marcus Freeman, which they whiffed on, or potentially Lane or Summerall or any of these big
Or Matt
guys,
Rule.
Matt Rule and Mike Elko, and none of it worked out for them. And now here they are holding their hands, and tomorrow is signing day for those who are unaware, and they have five players committed to their school right now. So,
They're
and
100. They're right next to Harvard in the
yeah,
recruiting
they're behind
rankings.
Harvard, and their entire team and commits have left for Virginia Tech. And it's trending more and more like they're either going to get Terry Smith or like a Brian Dable, or they keep flashing around this mystery man, this big splash hire that they're going to make, but they have just completely whiffed. And now you're getting into really dangerous territory in building a recruiting class to a school where it might be harder to recruit offensive talent than you think at Penn State. And then even if you have a new hire, like then they have to hire a staff, and you're just going to be behind the eight ball. And they have really screwed up this coaching hire.
Yeah.
Another thing that I found interesting was on McShay. He was talking about Jimmy Sexton, who is for those who don't know, we've kind of talked about him a little bit, the big wig agent that,
The Scott Boris of college football.
right, he represents basically every major coach. And there is rumors that he is making it hell for Penn State to hire a new head coach because of James Franklin and how they not unfairly, but poor timing on the hire. So I'm I'm not worried because it's Penn State, but if I was a Penn State fan, I would be very worried
Yeah.
because at this point, like, who would you guys say is a slant would be if who would Penn State hire right now? You'd be like, all right, like, because if they would have hired Will Stein, I would have said, fine, like, we made a risk. Bob Chesney, all right, he's been successful. Even Jeff Brom would have been okay, like, solid, but now it's like
I thought it was Chesney. I thought it was staring them right in the face because my favorite hire, I mean, I'll, it's not my favorite hire, but a hire we'll talk about is Bob Chesney going to UCLA. Um, I don't know what the ceiling on the UCLA program is, but if he can get them to like 7-5, 8-4 perennially, I think that opens him up for higher caliber jobs. I think this is another stepping stone, and he's a winning football coach. He won at Assumption, which is D2. He won at Holy Cross FCS. He won at JMU, which is Group of Five. Like this is going to be his first Power 5 job, Power 4 job, and he's won everywhere he goes. He does call the plays for James Madison, so it's nice that you get kind of an offensive play caller, head coach. Um, and I thought that's where they were going to go. You know, this is why. So Pat Kraft is the athletic director um, at at Penn State. He was the athletic director at Boston College uh, before Penn State. So I don't know how he ended up getting. I don't know why Penn State went and hired Boston
He's an
College athletic
alum.
director. No, I get it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not questioning if he's qualified or not for to do this job. All I am saying is there's a reason athletic departments should be secular from the fan base because 365 days ago, the Ohio State fan base was calling for Ryan Day's head, and they did not want him to coach that football program anymore. And you know what Ohio State's athletic director did? Nothing. He let Ryan, if you believe Ryan Day is the man for the job, let him do the job. They now have a national championship and they're staring down the barrel of another run. They are perennially the best football team in college football, and Ryan Day is the second best coach in college football. And he lost to Michigan 4 straight years, which is the ultimate sin at Ohio State, but they didn't fire him. In the same way, James Franklin has had tons of 10-win seasons since 2016, 3 straight. They've been to 2 Rose Bowls and a playoff game in the past 3 years. They or a peach, a rose, whatever it was. They've been. This has been the peak of the program since the '90s or the early 2000s, and you made a rash decision off of a couple bad losses, and now we're here. And now is Kalani Sitake going? It's looking like
No,
no. It's looking like
No.
no.
I have an
It's
angle.
what? You have an angle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're
I,
if we're considering that a mystery man might be about to emerge and we're all going to be surprised by who it is. I think it's been talked about before and his name's been coming up in searches, but I think out of loyalty to the school he played for and he's coached at for like 10 years, I think that if Brian Hartline is going to go to Penn State, that
It would be after.
he's gonna wanna coach Ohio State at least through this Big Ten championship game and potentially through the rest of the playoff. And that's potentially destructive for Penn State in 2026. But at this point, stripping the program to its studs and rebuilding from there, that's not the worst idea in the world. And I don't even know if it makes logical sense, but that angle just popped in my head. I thought it could be something to
Or,
consider.
or would just to play devil's advocate, what if Hartline isn't sold on Penn State necessarily and kind of pulls a Sumrall and kind of takes a back seat and says, "Hey, maybe I don't want to go to Penn State. Let's see what happens in 2025 and 2026 with some other programs with a coach potentially on the hot seat." Just a thought, like there could be some talk, like not to get like overly speculative, but like there could be another big, like 2 big programs like Texas and Bama. If Bama loses early and they have a bad season, like there could be some big time jobs opening up next year too that could maybe lure Heartline,
I
or
mean,
maybe he's thinking that, or his
I think
team might be saying
Heartline.
that.
I actually think Heartline, they would walk if they walked ass backwards in the Heartline. I would like call it a good hire. I'd be like, you know what? I actually think he's a pretty good coach. But I would think, I mean, your search was a JV search, but like you did walk ass backwards into Brian Heartline. So I wonder how that works. But I mean, is Heartline gonna traditionally the coach, the mentor does not perform very well against like the sensei head coach. So like I don't know if Brian Hartline's going to solve the Ohio State problem that you guys have had that James
I don't
Franklin
think
couldn't
anyone
figure
can
it out.
solve that
That's
problem
what
though.
I'm saying. So like did we get
At this
better than
point I
James
think Penn
Franklin?
State's like, all right, we'll just take a 10-win season
Well,
now.
they don't even
Oh
play
yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah, I'm saying like
We just
yeah.
want 10-win seasons.
Oh, can we please get? It's been such a miserable year. Can we just get 10 wins? Like you probably would have got that the next year if James Franklin was still laying around. But yeah, yeah.
I think also, I'm sure we're going to talk about this later, but another potential angle, you're mentioning Heartline waiting for a job to open up in 26. The most insane, I don't think this would ever happen just because of the rivalry, but if the Michigan job opens after next year,
Ooh,
I doubt Brian Hartline would ever want to coach at Michigan. But imagine if that job's open, he's the premier name in the market, and then we see something like that happen. But
Yeah, I
didn't
actually
Shem?
I think that there could be some other, like, I would wait if I was him.
yeah,
I think the
Because he's going
Michigan.
to go into Penn State in a lose situation with likely no recruits, and it's not like he's going from a school where he can just take guys like, "Hey, Jared, come on, guys, you want to come with me?"
yeah,
No, that's not going to happen.
Uh,
So
uh,
he's going to have to kind of scratch and claw.
yeah. Wait, do you guys think? Do you guys think like we'll get into the Ohio State Michigan game now that we're kind of talking about like these programs, but I think that's a good point that that job might open up. Because do we think Sharon Moore's a top 20 head coach in college football?
I'm not sold on him.
No, me neither.
I don't want to say no, but
I agree. I agree.
I
I think
think
he deserves one more
he's
year.
gonna get one more year,
Yep,
which is fair
which he
because
should.
the offense this year is really young,
Yes.
and you can just see that when they play. I think he deserves one more year, but after that, if it doesn't go as expected, and I think it's gonna be the expectation is gonna be Big Ten championship and or
Playoff.
at least semifinal.
Dude, I'm just peeking ahead now they're on the Michigan train. Do they play Oklahoma, Indiana, Iowa, Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, at
Wow.
Minnesota, which is not easy. Yeah, I mean that's
What?
not an
No
easy
way
schedule
they get
there.
through that. They have to be so good to get through that.
They gotta
Underwood's
be.
gonna have to take a he's gonna have to take a big step
Yeah.
Does 9-3 get Sherrod fired though?
In that
next year.
schedule, you should they it shouldn't. It shouldn't. 9-3 with that schedule is like, wow, we unless they lose like if they get one of those big games, like if they beat Indiana, Ohio State, or Oklahoma, I feel like, and then maybe they drop three other like if they get one of those, and then I don't know. What do you think?
That's a crazy schedule though.
Do you think not? I think 9-3, you should keep your job,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
especially with Bryce Underwood.
Unless like they think they can just get whoever they want, which they probably could.
Yeah. No,
Like if
yeah.
they've realized that Sherrod Moore really hasn't moved the needle much since they won the Natty, and there's some new hotshot someone that comes out next year that they're like, oh, we want that because they don't need. I think they could do what Penn State thought they were going to be able to do this year
Yes. Yes.
and poach. Michigan can poach someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michigan can go down to the SEC and poach
Like Michigan could
almost
take
anybody who they want.
like yeah, someone would leave
The
a
only
very high
jobs,
level
the
program.
only jobs I think are like secure from Michigan poaching are Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, LSU,
Texas.
Texas,
Notre Dame,
Alabama, Notre
maybe.
Dame.
Even though there's just I've heard things about Freeman's family not liking South Bend.
Where have you heard this?
Um, just
You don't
from yeah, people
have
around
to,
the coaching world.
got you. Okay. All right. I feel like it's more likely he leaves for the NFL than another college coaching job, but we'll see.